For where jealousy and self-seeking are, verse 16, there is confusion in every foul deed. When you're jealous or self-seeking, by the way, can come in any kind of form, not what you may all be going to some default, like it's an ego and outward expression. No, a lot of you are self-seeking by hiding, or you're self-seeking because it's about you not wanting to be seen, or not wanting to ask questions, or not wanting to be found out. So it's not always a big open thing, this self-seeking, because some of you think of these loud, boastful people. Putting you first is self-seeking. I don't want to do this. I don't like that. I'd rather be by myself. I don't want to talk to Rabbi. I don't want to go do this. I don't want to go do that. That's self. And when you put self first, that's self-seeking. You're seeking to please you above what he's saying. So you're seeking the self and its desire over the Creator and his desire. You're pursuing. Don't think about it. Seeking may be a harder word to understand. You pursue through your behavior, your thoughts, and your actions. You're pursuing what self wants, not what he wants. All right? And jealousy, this is also, I think, connected back to verse 1 of this chapter when he talks about not becoming teachers. Sometimes people want to go into the teaching mode because they're jealous of other people being teachers, and I can teach. I don't need a teacher. I can go ahead and teach. And a lot of the people that reject teachers, there's a jealousy there too. And there's a self-seeking. You can't teach me anything. What makes you think you're so smart, blah, blah, blah. Whatever it is, that whole negative talk that may be just going on in your head and also maybe coming out of your mouth, because I've heard people talk to each other saying, oh, who does that guy think he is teaching? And he thinks that blah, 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 blah. All right. So it may come out of your mouth. That's that unbridled tongue. He says, where these things are, there is confusion. Where the self-seeking is, there's confusion. Absolutely no doubt about it. And let's start with the first confusion. The first confusion is, who is supposed to be in charge? You or him? There's an authority confusion first and foremost. Because when you're seeking self, you're not putting him on the throne. So naturally, if the wrong authority is in your life, most of your life is going to end up in some level of confusion. And guess what else is going to happen? He says in the rest of the verse, every foul deed. Anything that you do that's a foul deed is going to come out of confusion. Not that everything you do wrong comes out of confusion, but we're talking about a foul deed, meaning I think it's considered more foul to him or abominable or whatever word it is when you're doing it thinking and claiming and convincing yourself that it's what he wants. That's the confusion. Not confusion where I just don't know what to do. We're not talking about that kind of confusion. You're confusing him with you. You're confusing the voice in your head that's you as his voice. I've told you, you've got at least 3 voices in your head. I'm not trying to say you're crazy and you need to go get therapy. I'm saying you have 3 voices in your head. You've got the self, the ego, the you, that your own voice. I like, I want, I don't like, I don't want. You have Hasatan's voice, which basically is agreeing with you and encouraging you to use your voice, because all of the ideas come from you, not him. He's just a cheerleader. He's cheering you on, going, go for it, come on, do what you want. You don't need to listen to anybody else. And the third voice is the still small voice. There's that still small voice, that's Yahweh's voice. And that voice is waiting for the other 2 to shut up, quite frankly. You got to quiet those. That's why meditation and prayer, by prayer I mean not actively saying anything, but being quiet is so important, because then maybe you might allow the other voice to speak. I'm not saying you'll hear anything, but you might be inspired. That's the way the voice will speak to you. And you might see things in a different way than you ever saw them before, because the other voices have finally calmed down and gotten quiet. It's very hard to listen and hear directions. You know, we did a great thing one time with the children that we thought was a great exercise with one of the feast programs, where the child had to walk through an obstacle course a little bit and only turn based on the voice telling them which way to turn, while everybody else was kind of shouting and talking to them and saying other things. And they had to find a way to hear that one voice That's the only one they were supposed to listen to. And I think they had them blindfolded so they couldn't know what, they had to listen to a voice. Go to your left, go to your right, take 2 steps. Meanwhile, everybody else is like, no, turn right, no left, do this or that. Now, the difference when the children did it is the voice trying to talk to them wasn't whispering. I think that might have been a better way to do it. Have the person whispering that they're supposed to listen for through all the other noise. Very hard to do. He's saying, look, where these things are, there is confusion, and that confusion leads to you doing things, thinking it's him when it's not him. Lord, Lord, we did all these things in your name. And he said, no, but that wasn't what I wanted you to do. I know you did them in my name, but you were confused. You were confused. And so you did not do what I said. You did instead unrighteousness. Depart from me, you workers of unrighteousness. You did not keep my commandments. As a matter of fact, you were confused to think that I somehow sent my son to do away with them. And that does confuse a lot of people. And so therefore, they don't do the doing, because after all, it's been wiped out. And they believe that genuinely. I don't fault them. I mean, they genuinely have been told that. And they were told to believe what their pastors taught them and all the way down the road with all that, which is funny how they choose to submit to who they choose to submit to. And a part of it is because they like the idea of not having to do, even on an unconscious level. And that's why some of your friends and family members are very irritated with you, because if you're right, they have to change it. They do not want to switch all that stuff in their life about. They've already watched you do it. And they don't want to do it. They don't want to eat different, change the days they keep. They don't want to do all of these other things. The men certainly don't want to all of a sudden have to put, seat on and wear these in public. And, what are people going to think? I'm wearing stuff on my clothes. I don't know what they're going to think, and I don't care. It's not relevant to my doing it. And that's another thing that I think every teacher out there, that's the life coaches, et cetera, that I've been listening to of late, just little clips here and there, they want to encourage everybody that they're training, this is worldly, okay? This is just to be successful in life, to stop caring what everybody thinks. You want to walk this out? You're going to have a really hard time if you care what everybody thinks. You are really going to have a hard time. That doesn't mean you have a callous disregard. I mean, I would like people to like what I'm doing. I would like people to approve, but I'm not going to allow what they think to influence my decisions. That's what I mean by caring. Don't allow them to influence what you're doing. And that's a lot of what's going on here in chapter 3. People teaching who shouldn't be teaching things they shouldn't be teaching, and not having a sense of the fact that that influence will be there. And he's saying, be careful with that, because that's when we end up in confusion and every foul deed.